What do you got? Hit me.
Well, I'll hit you. Welcome to the Underdog Talk. I mean, the world's most underrated podcast on earth, according to Generation Iron. And ladies and
Hey,
gentlemen,
now.
something about the Underdog. But I mean, today we have an absolute beast on the Underdog Talk.
Hey.
Future of the 212 class. I mean, a champion, the Texas and Tampa Pro. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, you see him, the big fella, cloaked in the hoodie, the pump cover. I mean, the one and only Kerrith Bajjo. What is up, big fella? How you doing today, man?
What's going on, Teddy? Thank you for that very long-winded introduction. It was great.
And
My weekend has been made. Uh, but I would never call this a pump cover. It's still a hoodie to me. I'm a man of a certain age. But yeah, it's cold where we are. It's actually like 29 degrees today. So yeah, even in the house, it's still, relatively cold.
it's cold here too. And I was at the gym, and this was my pump cover. So I guess that's what counts. Now, before we dive into bodybuilding, I have to, and don't take this the wrong way. You don't
No,
work for Clean Uniforms as a delivery driver, right?
I don't even know how that got on there.
That's,
But
I
yes,
put it up there.
I so I haven't worked for Clean for a very, very long time. Um, yeah, I don't know how, and the thing is, it never was on that search for a long time. Um, yeah, it's just random that now it pops up. Before it used to be a lot of other accolades, but yeah, I guess they want that to be at the top of my profile. But yeah, that was an experience in its own.
All right. So they're not going to show the Tampa or Texas Pro for you when they search your name. They're going to show. I love that. I mean, that's unique.
You
Uh,
gotta love it. You
you
gotta
got
love it.
you gotta love it. I mean, who are
The internet is undefeated.
Kerrith? I mean, I think you said it on point. I mean, enough talking about dry cleaners and stuff like that. Let's talk
Yeah.
Olympia. First off, what were your thoughts on your performance? I mean, coming in at seventh place, one spot behind Keown, and then two spots out from the top five. You got to be, pretty proud of yourself. But what were your thoughts? What was the takeaway from
So
yourself?
take away from that, I'd be lying if I said that I didn't think I could place higher. But when you get into the top 10, it's really like grasping at straws sometimes. It's the way the wind blows because everybody up there has done their part. Everybody in the top 10 knows that, hey, on any given day, this could swing my way. But that said, shout outs to everybody that was in that top 10. That was a hell of a lineup. I think front to back, like you had some great competitors. And, a lot of people that were new to the game, they're going to be a problem going forward in the next couple of years. I don't want to, highlight any one name because I might leave somebody out. But in truth, tons of talent in 212, tons. But how do I feel about what I did? I think we did well, all things considering. You have, the Olympia flu, or whatever you want to call it, that was going around.
I heard.
Myself and a few other competitors suffered from it. I could only think that we'd be even sharper had we not had that happen to us.
And Kerrith, everyone was telling me about this flu, and Samir Banu
Oh,
said everyone was getting it because he couldn't come on because of the flu. You actually got it before you stepped on stage. Is that correct?
so Thursday we started going through posing right before the meet and greet, and I started feeling very weird. We thought it was just okay. All right, well he's depleted, and maybe the change in altitude or something is throwing me off. But after all that, Friday morning comes around, and you know, it just took a lot for me to try to wake up. And, I told this story the other day. Shout outs to Redcon One because they were the ones that gave me the energy drink that I needed to get that little boost to get on stage for prejudging. The booth wasn't even open. And Eduardo, he was setting up still. And I was like, thank God I found you. Please tell me you have Total War. And, this is not a shameless plug or nothing, but I'm telling you, it was only because of that I was able to go through it. And, I'd love to see what I could have done had I not been under the weather, because it didn't even feel like flu at that point,
Yeah.
but I knew something was off. It felt
And
like,
yeah, you weren't 100%, and it felt like that was one of the main things we kept on hearing. All
oh
athletes,
God,
coaches, competitors. I mean, just everyone was coming away from Olympia weekend with something. Chris Cormier was going to come on that Friday, and he goes, "Dude, I've been in bed the past 2-3 days, man. I can't even."
yeah,
I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like, is something in that protein water or something like that? And I think you put it on spot on, Kerrith. The 212 division is getting stacked. It's getting legit. And I've had the pleasure of speaking to Kamal on the podcast, and we also had the chosen one, Lucas Cogillo. And I mean, I feel like it's a slept-on division in terms of it's like we always just think of the open, but that 212, I mean, those top 7, top 10, they're
yeah,
legit. They're legit. And I mean, yes, you might not have got where you want to, but you were in that top 10, and obviously
yeah.
you came out in that top 10 on prejudging, and that's got to be some kind of confidence booster, right, Kerrith?
I mean, it always feels good to do, better than most at a show. And what better show to do it at, really? And I've been there before. Last year we got eighth, and unfortunately we had an injury there, sidelined me kind of, but I pushed through. So third time's a charm. We're going back.
You
We're
know,
going back.
that is, you read my mind, Karen. Fuck. Third
Yeah,
time is the charm. And think about this: eighth, seventh, first. Wait, what? What's going on here?
we'll make a hell of a jump. Listen, it wouldn't be the first time that I've made a jump like that, and sometimes it doesn't have to make sense to work. So I know that if the conditions are right, oh my God, it'll be way better than what it was, because we were looking fantastic heading into the Olympia. And for whatever reason, it just wasn't that day. And I want to blame the meet and greet, but to tell you the truth, there was so many people. Every Uber driver we had from the time we got there, people in the airport, everybody was coughing. So, this was like ground zero for getting sick. Keep in mind, Vegas doesn't have too many windows that open. So it's, a lot of recycled air, and, it's going to be unavoidable. And not even just Vegas. I don't want to target Vegas. Any expo you go to with that many people in one spot, yeah, you're asking for it.
And you are asking for it. And as a spectator, and I was watching, at home, obviously watching the expo, watching everything. And on Saturday, I kind of had the feeling, should it the athletes actually be doing this? It's almost like, you see all these bodybuilders talking and meeting and greeting, yet they have to step on stage that night. Is that almost like, besides the fact that you could get sick and get something,
Mm.
is that like I feel like you should be locked in, you should be focused, you should be focused on what's going to go on. Does this kind of seem like a distraction to you? And did you get a sense of what the other athletes were feeling about this meet and greet?
Well, I can't say it's a distraction so much, because without the people that pay attention to this, we have nothing. We're just a bunch of guys on stage in underwear, but that's really the truth. So the people are who keep this thing going, so shout outs to every fan of bodybuilding. But there comes a time where we got to analyze the climate we live in, and just knowing what we know now, it's different. We live in a time where, hey, we're fighting germs like we used to fight each other. So with all that said, it's like, do we have to reassess the way this thing is done? And listen, I know nothing, but I was saying before this happened, maybe this is something that we should do on the back end of the
Yes.
Olympia. And I think that gives the athlete more of an appreciation for the fan that stuck around,
Yes. Yes.
and I think it would be a nice farewell to the athletes who competed. But again, I know nothing, and these people have been doing this for years, and I mean, look at the turnout; it never fails.
Yes.
So, but I do think there needs to be a little bit more, not really distance, but again, like, how do you do this? How do you test for this? How do you test every single person that shows up at an expo center? There's what, 10,000 people? Nobody's got time to test all that. So it's like, how do you make it work? And maybe we just go with what we got.
Yeah. And I think you made a spot on point, and I think it is important for you to meet your supporters and for the fans to be able to talk with their heroes. I think that is
Absolutely.
important. I think what I meant by that is maybe move it after the athletes have done their prejudging, after
Ah,
the athletes have been on stage and competed in the finals. Because to me, as an athlete, if I were to kind of be trying to prepare for arguably the biggest night of my year in the sport, not saying the fans are distractions, but I want to talk to them after I'm done. I am so focused on how I'm going to be tonight. I have no food in my body. I'm pissed. I'm just emotional. Like, let me just do what I got to do. So I think it'd be a lovely farewell for athletes and fans to just kind of talk about the show after the event, and not even necessarily about the colds and all that. I think that is something that definitely needs to be considered, but more just in talking after it's done. And I have a question. So obviously you were in the top 10 call out and
mhm.
prejudging in on Friday night. What goes on the night of prejudging for you, Kerrith? Is this coaches gives you macros to change, or what actually goes on the night before finals?
So it's a variety of things, honestly. Like, basically, if it's not broke, don't fix it. If you got something going on and you look great for prejudging, do the same thing for the night show. Like, there's no reason to throw a variable in there if you didn't need to. For instance, we had to go against my normal protocol for Olympia finals, which was, I've never eaten this much after a prejudging. We had to eat two burgers and a large fry just to try and fill up. Um, Normally, I just keep it clean food. I might have one meal and try to take a nap, but because we came in not really overfed, but we had like more of a flat look for the prejudging. So we had to try and fill me up a little bit. That required, some protein, some carbs,
Yeah.
a lot of carbs, a lot of carbs.
I can imagine there are a lot of carbs. So if it's working on prejudging, you're feeling good, don't change
Yeah.
it. Now, how important are changes, and what are the changes made if an athlete's looking, watery or something like that? What goes into that night, and how important is it, Kerrith?
Well, it's everything because anything can change. And even though it's, for the most part, everything is set from prejudging, you could usually determine the winner, but there's still a chance. So if you come back sharper, judges might have to say, hey, well, we got to get confirmation. Let's rejudge them. And, then they're really going to work you because they got to validate the reason why this guy is better than the guy from prejudging.
Yeah.
So, with all that said, it's never over till it's over. So, if you're right there, if you're the number two or three guy, even the number four guy, you should definitely take it seriously till the end. Shit, even the number seven guy took it seriously till the end. Seriously, man. I mean, we all want to win. We're all there for a purpose.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we just push through, man. Run through the finish line.
And Kerrith, I just gotta say, I mean, dude, I mean, where the fuck are veins? I didn't even know veins could be on the human body like that. And I just had to say, as a spectator, I loved your performance. I mean,
Oh, thank
you
you, man.
put on for the fucking city. Now, we had Nathan Dash and Patrick Johnson on the show, and they talked about how judging is almost, I don't want to say biased, but I think how you mentioned prejudging, you kind of know who's going to win. Do you think that should be kind of a change in the judge's mindset that we shouldn't know who wins from prejudging? Because, like you said, the night is important. Athletes can come out different. And I feel like the judges, okay, prejudging, we know who's going to win. Will we change stuff the next day? Not necessarily. Do you think that is a problem, or do you think that's more just made up?
I think it's mostly made up because here's why. I've had times where legit I've been dead center the entire first call out
Yeah.
and ended up finishing third. So, you would think that by traditional, thought, oh, well, that guy's dead center. He's going to win the show. I've been asked to step back after a few poses and, again, finish third. So it can go either way. You never know. And that's really the people pushing that narrative, but according to the judges, I shouldn't speak for them, but I could only assume this is their train of thought. They're probably like, well, we didn't tell you shit. On its most primitive level, they didn't tell you shit. You were the one who determined that. We didn't say that person won. If you're saying that person won, it's probably for a reason.
And I have to play devil's advocate again. Charles Griffin was telling me that it's almost like there's politics, and that do you think that the politics are actually a thing in bodybuilding instead of giving everyone their fair shot, their fair chance?
So, to touch on that, now, when it comes to politics, we can say this with, a huge sense of security.
Yeah.
It exists in everything. With that said, who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? Like I couldn't give you an answer, but politics exists in everything, and it's just what it is.
Yeah.
It's human nature. Everybody's gonna have their favorites. So, if a guy has a certain shape that's similar to a judge's, who knows? They relate better to that shape. They might think that that's more of an attractive physique than, somebody with a boxier shape or vice versa. But we could always assume till the cows come home. It's going to be what it is. We can sit here and talk till we're blue in the face about it, but that I don't think that part of it will ever change. Nor should it, because at the end of the day, judges didn't tell you shit.
Judges didn't tell you shit. And you know what? For the first time, I can actually understand kind of both sides now in terms of we don't actually know what the judges think. So, bodybuilders saying politics are involved. Who knows? Again, it does come down to what the judges like on that day. It could change, but just like in any fucking sport, there's politics, there's changes, there's biases, and that is not unfortunate. Because I don't think it's necessarily unfortunate, but I think every guy should ultimately have an equal shot, is what I think these athletes are kind of trying to voice. Where I do agree that, okay, they might not have as many Instagram followers as, okay, this person, but they still should be given the fair shot. If they look better than that guy on the day of, they should be given an opportunity. That's
right.
what they're trying to explain and say. Do you think that has any validity?
Now it depends. Like, I don't know. Old me would have said yeah. New me kind of understands the business more, and when you understand the business side to it, it's like, disregard Instagram followers, because I've won against guys that have 8 times as many following as me. That show in particular, compare my following to Ahmed.
That's right.
I would look like, I'm not even trying. He's got probably what, I don't know, a few 100,000, maybe even 1 million followers. Who knows? But that just goes to show that the exception isn't always the rule, and the rule isn't always the exception.
And you know what? I can't even argue on that, because that is true. That is, for the first time, I'm seeing that point, that side of, okay, it doesn't necessarily factor into everything. For me, I always thought it was like a very big part, but I don't think it's necessarily as big as I thought it was. So thank you, Kerrith, for kind of explaining that to me. Now, obviously, a hell of a 212 performance from you and a hell of a 212 class. Just a great showing. Now, what were your thoughts on the open bodybuilding and obviously Hottie winning it and Derek second? What were your thoughts on kind of a 212er winning and then a new 212 or a open winning or getting second? What were your thoughts on that?
Well, thoughts were like, what are we doing next year?
Oh, were you thinking about going open? Is that a
No,
possibility?
so that has always been one of our goals. And you know, knowing what we know now and standing next to a lot of these guys, it's kind of been something that's like, all right, well, maybe we could do it sooner than we think. So, you know, we'll see what happens this year. Our goal was to do an open show last year, but the season got drawn out, and you know, the Olympia's in December, so we didn't want to mess anything up.
Yeah.
This year it's back to normal. So, you know, we have a little time where, you know, if we wanted to do an open show, we could possibly explore that on the way to winning a 212 show. So I don't think there's any downside for me doing an open show. That's not my division. I just want to do it to say I did it, and I feel as if, you know, as a bodybuilder, you shouldn't hide from anybody. So, you know, if you're talking physique versus physique, and you're using the comparison system, a smaller guy could rightfully beat a bigger guy. You know,
I
so
would
we'll see what happens.
you in the open, Kerrith. I mean, that would be something special because I know, and you know, you don't back down from anyone. You are a competitor, and I mean, ladies and gentlemen, he is the 2022 Texas Pro Champ. And ladies and gentlemen, don't underestimate this man, as he is the 2021 Tampa Pro Champ. I mean, we saw, you know, twice. Yeah, I mean, I'm fucking sorry for getting that other one. And obviously, you know, we had Derek Lunsford on the show, and he talked about kind of moving from 212 to open, and that it really is just a weight differential. There's not too much else to it. You have more control of doing what you want to your body. And then he kind of talked about the height and stuff like that. But I actually do want to look at your wins because, I mean, they are very impressive. Obviously, as I mentioned, two Tampa pros, the Texas Pro current champ. Have you thought about what show you're going to do this year, or are you and Coach still deciding on what's going to be the show?
Well, first thing is getting everything checked out, making sure that we're healthy and making sure that we're able to compete. So those irons are already in the fire, but as of now, we're thinking let's do an earlier show and kind of not really dial it back, but listen, I hate to say one thing because I'm all over the place with it right now, Teddy. It's one of two things. We win a pro show now, dial it back, go for the Olympia, or we flood the market and let's just go take qualifiers from everybody. So, you know, both ideas sound cool to me. The second one is kind of appealing, but you don't want to hit burnout by the time you get to the Olympia. But, you know, I'd love to get multiple 212 wins in the same season. That would be kind of cool.
And Kerrith, I personally will tell Andrew Jacked, if you beat his 3-win streak and get 4 win streaks in 212, we had Jacked on the show. I will tell him to watch out for you. I really will. I mean,
that's a big boy.
He is a big boy, and he didn't burn out. To give him high credit, he did not burn out. So the possibility of, okay, we've seen burnouts, and then we haven't seen burnouts, is Andrew won 3 in a row and looked phenomenal in his first showing. So I think that should definitely be a possible thought for you, Karath. Okay, shit, fuck it, let's win them all. Or I see your side of, okay, let's do one, win it, prepare for the O. We have a good amount of time. So obviously that will come down to you and your coach. You know, how important are qualifying shows, though? I mean, do you go 100% in them? I mean, is this something that you go all out, or do you try different things in terms of different macros, different training?
I've never been one to go at anything half-assed. So if I'm going to enter a show, I'm going to give you everything I got in that time frame. So, you know, it might not be 100% compared to the next 100%. You know what I mean? But at every event that I am trying to win, you get nothing but the best that I have. You know, I'm not going to leave anything to chance. So let's just go all in, both feet on the gas every time. And you have to do that to a certain degree, unless you have flex wheeler structure. You know, but for the most part, if you don't do that, you leave the window open.
You know, I like that. I don't think anything should be half-assed, especially in bodybuilding. I think going 100% and maybe improve on that 100% to get 101% because you fix that one thing. I see your mentality on that. Now, obviously, you know, speaking of qualifying shows, Kerrith, they took out the point system to qualify. What are your thoughts on that?
I never qualified on point steady. Yeah, who said that? Who said that? No,
The champion said it. The champion said it. Oh.
So I was never one for the point system. I'll be honest about that. I always thought that that created, you know, the athletes that would take it too far, you know, and by the time they get to the Olympia, they look like a lesser version of themselves. That's my opinion. I know that people love to compete. They love to say, "Hey, you know, I took it to the Olympia." But I think it should be like, you know, how it was in the late '90s, where, you know, if you want to show, that's how you got it.
The best of the best. I agree, and the
Yeah,
reason I agree on that point, Kerrith, is obviously I don't want to see athletes gas themselves out,
yeah.
but also, I mean, we saw in the men's physique division really 77 competitors or some crazy fucking
Wow.
number to a point.
Oh, sorry. That's Bentley. Stop. Get that. Get that.
I assume
Yes.
it's a squirrel or something out there, Kerrith, but there were 77 competitors in the men's physique
Yeah.
division because of the point system, and it drawn on and on and on. And I think that's one of the main reasons they took it out. So I do agree on that because I think the best of the best should be in the up. It shouldn't be people who done a lot of competitions and just won and got in because of the points. So I do agree on that. Now let me ask you the
Yeah.
most important question. You've been bodybuilding for a shit ton of years.
Not
Why?
really.
Really?
7 years.
Okay, but you're a champion. Well, I mean, I guess that's more impressive how many championships you've won in 7 years. Interesting.
Oh,
Well, let me turn that around. Okay, you've been in bodybuilding 7 years. Why bodybuilding?
well, I'll say this. I was always an athlete, and I love doing other sports. You know, I played everything. Growing up in the projects, we always played whatever we could. Street hockey, it didn't matter. Ice hockey when we had the ice, you know, but we would always find a way to play whatever sport was relevant at the time. So played everything. However, when it comes to bodybuilding, it was only uh, found by me until my athletic ability began to not decline, but transition. So it went from dynamic ability to now, hey, I'm just really, really strong. And I didn't know that. Let's see what we could do with this thing. So, you know, that's where the weightlifting came into play. And naturally, you get into the gym, you're training as a weightlifter. You see the bodybuilders, the guys that, you know, specialize in this.
Yeah.
And bodybuilders are nice guys. We get a hard rap. But for the most part, when they see talent, they're going to let talent know, hey, there's a place where you can go to showcase that talent. And that's exactly what was happening to me. But I would disregard it and say, hey, I'll never put on a pair of posing trunks. Like, it's just weird to me. Here I am, professional at it. But so that is kind of what got me in, you know. But yeah, for the most part, it's just, you know, it's something that I had to come to, but it was always there around me. You know, I just had to really slow down and reassess the picture.
100%. I think bodybuilding isn't for everyone, but it's for people who are ready to push themselves to extreme limits, who mentally want to become better, physically want to become better. Because people in who kind of spectate from the sport don't understand how important the two components of mental and physical are in bodybuilding. I mean, people just think it, like you said, is muscles and all that, but the mental ability to diet, the mental ability to do that cardio when you just don't want to do cardio anymore, unless you like cardio, Kerrith. I don't know. I mean, you probably do.
Listen, I've never met him. I've never met him, but yeah, I guess if that's your thing, you know. But yeah, it does take a certain mental capacity to be able to be a successful bodybuilder.
Yes.
Anybody could bodybuild. Separating the greats from the guy that goes through the motions is very easy. You could spot him in the gym. You know, you see the guy with the hoodie on, the headphones on, he's not talking to anybody, and he's just sitting there nodding his head in between sets. Chances are that guy steps on stage. You know, either that or he's got a lot of emotional problems. You know, it could go either way.
Hey, the gym is the one place to get those emotional problems out. So I mean, either way, good for him. Now I want to end this podcast by asking you, what is your biggest tip? You know, after you've seen it in your 7 years, won a few championships, won a few qualifiers, competed on the biggest stage on earth. What is your biggest tip, Kerrith, for someone who is looking to become a bodybuilder like you once did?
Disregard everything people say around you and focus on what you want to achieve, because you know people will never see your vision, and if you see it, that's really all that matters. You know, so don't let somebody take your heart out of it before your heart gets there. So you know, it's really something that you know you have to want, and you know it's a different experience. It's probably one of the hardest things that you could do as an adult. You know, you have to willingly give up your freedoms pretty much to be your greatest. And that's one of the toughest things that you could possibly do. So if you're prepared to do that, then welcome to bodybuilding.
I think it comes down to three words. How bad do you want it? 4 words. How bad do you want it? I mean, do you want to be the best, or do you want to be okay? I mean, and I think, Kerrith, you have become one of the best. You have become one of the best 12ers. You know, the future is extremely bright for you. What, 7 years? Gosh. I mean, that's inspiring to me that you've already done so much in 7 years. I mean, sir, you are a champ. I mean, just insane. Just insane. Kerrith, an honor, a privilege. Now, before we go, the floor is yours. Is there anything you want to plug? Where can we find your content? Any codes we can use to support you? What's next for the champion? The floor is yours.
Right. Okay, let's run with it. So first things first, Gym Pin, Apex 26. Go check out all their accessories. They have some great lifting accessories. Buckeye brownies. If you want the best brownies in the game, trust me. If you haven't had them, go get some. Promo code KBB10. What else? What else we got? No major sponsors yet. But at the same time, what's next for me? We got a few shows coming up in a few weeks, and you know we'll see where the cards land. You know, I hear prize money's 300,000. So no, okay. I see your face. Yeah, no.
I'll start bodybuilding or something like that, man.
Yeah, no, I don't know if I could even qualify to get in. I think the deadline is passed, but you know, we'll see. We'll see. You know, if they somehow miraculously send me an invite, I would entertain that. But they're not handing those out. Let's not kid ourselves. Yeah. You know, you got to think realistically. But, you know, so we got the New York Pro, and that's the one that always evaded me. I've gotten 8th. I've gotten 3rd. So, you know, I would love to bring that one in, you know, and a few others.
There'll be a lot more for you, big fella. I mean, first person to get that Buckeye brownie using Kerrith's code, send me a screenshot, send me a DM. I'll send you an autograph and some goodies from some of the legends we've had on the show. I mean, I have seen those brownies on TikTok. I mean, the reaction to pros stepping off stage, taking a bite of one of those Buckeye brownies it looks like it's better than an orgasm. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't know about all that part, but I'll tell you this. They are friggin' good. They are absolutely good. Make no mistake about it.
Please run up my guy's code. Check out that gym apparel. I mean,
It's not apparel; they're accessories. So, gym pin. Basically, if you have a plate-loaded machine and you want to add more, there's a Olympic bar attachment that clicks right into the weight stack, and you can add more weight to it. They also have a few other things like a few accessories for Smith machines, tricep ropes, certain handles that you probably never seen, the D hooks, all sorts of things that can add to your workout and, tweak the muscle a certain type of way where you just, feel engagement there. So check that out. Gym pin Apex 26 is the code.
Apex 26. I love it. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, one more time. Kerrith. I mean, the 2022. Say it one more time. Texas Pro Champ. I mean, it has been an honor and privilege. We cannot wait to see you on that stage again, whatever it holds for you, whether you're in the open, whatever. Maybe I just want you to in the open. Who knows? I mean, guys, don't forget to check out his content on Instagram as well.
Yes.
And what is that Instagram, Karath?
Instagram is it used to be IFBB Pro Kerrith Bajjo, but I shortened it. So now it's just Kerrith Bajjo.
You didn't want to put the IFBB Pro in there anymore?
I thought it was time for a change. Just time for a change. Sometimes you got to reinvent yourself, right?
Sometimes you do got to reinvent yourself. Please go check him out on Instagram. I mean, there's some really inspiring content. You can see a dude just look fucking inhuman out here. I mean, guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on this YouTube video. Until next time, guys, Underdog out.
Later.